Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I'll train you to locate, generate, activate core key energy in physical activity. This is part 3 of stage 1, address and taking the club back. This is about taking the club back, setting up. Quick review. 1, always tip your hips forward. First off, get your distance. It has to be past your shoulders, your feet. Too many people for the driver have their feet too close. You don't want. We'll get into why people are uncomfortable, because they swing from the shoulders. People that do this, they swing with the shoulders, but they're not using their body. If you want to swing from the ground up, put your feet apart, because the whole object of the lower body is to have the hips turn. First the hips shift, turn, and angle. Those are the 3 parts to the lower body's activities. So how fast can you turn your hips, the angle of the hips, and the shift to start your swing down. The shift starts to swing down in the driver's swing. That's the key part, understand. You need the shift to start the swing down. So understanding that part involved. So the first thing is balance, 50-50, tilt your hips forward, inhale, push your stomach out, squeeze your glutes, soften your shoulders like this. Then put your hand here for a basic turn. Push against that hip here. You don't do this. No, your spine is straight and you turn. So everything like this. Then you're down. That's your basic. And then the last thing you do is let your knees drop. Taking the club back. The first thing you want to do is develop the tension between the right and left foot, right foot. You have the left foot push against the right ball of the this foot, right foot. So this left ball, is pushing against the right, and this is resisting. You never want to wobble that foot because it destroys the coil. That's the reason. You lose it. You want the tension on the inside of your leg. As soon as you do this, you go to the outside leg. So you want it on the inside. So the more you keep it there, from the very beginning, you'll build up. You have to get used to this because it's a very strong physical feeling, having your legs that dynamic. But when you unwind it, when you release that tension, it's like releasing to snap that hip around. You time the snapping and turning that hip. It's effortless. It's easy. It flows. Using the right muscles to release that. So building up the coil is building up the right leg, inside leg. That's the rule on that. So you're down like this. There. So the last thing you do is bend your knees. Here. You always start turning your arms first, not your hips. Do not let like this. People do that generally because they release and turn their foot out like that, as they're just a little bit. The feeling is if I have too much tension here, I can't turn my hip. If I do this, I can turn my hip a little bit. Wrong. It's actually the separation between hips and shoulders will give you the greatest dynamic force. If you can snap those hips around faster, a shorter distance snapper, and you have a greater separation between the shoulders and hips, that will give you better control, more dynamic aspects, and going outside doesn't produce anything in turning your hips around too much. Really, it just throws you off balance more than anything else. It destroys the coil. There's nothing to unwind. It makes you weak. Why do you want to be weak in your right leg for the turning the hips? So 2, by having it this way, you can turn your hips shoulders quite a bit before you turn the hip. Then let the turning turn the hip. And when you want to turn the hips, it's all about the left knee. How do you want to? And you want to move it across at a 30 degree, and you want this foot, your heel, come off about an inch or so. So that way you can really turn on that. Because we're going to use that heel on the downswing. That heel is very important for that. So it's all balancing the lower body to make the hips turn. Shift, turn, and be angled involved. Now, to do this, remember, you have to go in stages. Soft shoulders, soft upper body is the key for the separation and for the swing. How do you create that? You gotta release the shoulders. So, this is a suggestion. You go back a little bit, have your arms go like that, soften shoulders, soften the back, straighten it out. Go a little bit farther, just like this, soften body. Just literally make your whole body softer, keeping the tension on the inside leg. It's an experience. And once you get to a certain point on your rotation, now you're going to have the shoulder turn the hip. So if you go back a little farther, you want the hip to turn, you bring that heel up, and your leg actually, your knees. It's almost straight, and you can get your 90-degree turn on that. So tell you, the only finger you have to do to take your club back, lighten your fingers. You never want to use these two fingers and your grip on your right hand taking the club back. You only want to use the middle finger. That's it. You never want to use this finger in your swing in any part. No one teaches. Ben Hogan says you use these two fingers. Bobby Jones says you use these three fingers. They both have a point of view, and they both have. But the one thing they all agree, never use this finger. Do you ever ask anyone why? I will show you when I get into finger ergonomics in stage 3 of the golf swing, the crossover. And I'll prove it to you. This is all creating a sensation of creating a fluid swing. You have to soften your upper body from the waist up, the shoulders. Use a little exhale. There's a lot of techniques to do that and to make it more enjoyable. So you almost make a whipping factor coming through involved. But to save your back, at least do have a flat back on that. Even for your irons, if you flat back and you got an iron a little bit and you lean forward with that, you can back it straighter. And that when you come through, you don't have to, you can drop the hip better. But as soon as you have an arch, the arch prevents the hip from dropping, therefore it cramps right here. If you got it right here, the only reason that exists is because you're not using the lower core and you have an arch and you're trying to push from that point there and it's cramping between the shoulder. It won't release. You gotta have fluidity and it's being soft to give it a path. You're holding it. So this is part 3 of stage 1. Address taking the club back, understanding the sensations, how to use your lower body with the clear goal of shifting, turning, and angling your hips. Those are what you need in the lower body. And the faster you can turn your hips, the faster the rotation of the shoulders can be with dynamic force. A lot of people can keep their hips straight and just doing it like that. That's, it's just an upper body swing. It's not as pleasant. It's muscling it. This is creating a whole fluid. That's why people play golf. I recommend it highly for all the young people that never have. They need a sport. One sport you can do the rest of your life and be good at it even. But shaping your body for it, understanding so you don't hurt your back, don't hurt your body. This goes into the other areas of this video series, Driver Swing Mechanics with Key Energy. It's the exercise part I'll have. And if you go to the lessons of the 4 components, that's the internal force to help you understand how to create that internal muscle sensation, the need of it, how to do it as well. So Driver Swing Mechanics with Key Energy has 3 lesson video series. 1 on driver swing mechanics, that's what this one is. Another one to be produced is the driver swing of the 4 components in every golf swing. And the 3rd lesson video is on fitness to swing, fitness to play golf. So have a good day.